Welcome back to another episode. Today's guest is the amazing Chris Colfer. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
He's going to speak about creating best-selling books. Chris Colfer is a Golden Globe-winning actor, best-selling author, screenwriter, and producer known for his role as Kurt Hummel on Glee. I didn't know that was his last name. I thought that was like an oral sex move, Hummel.
It might be.
Okay.
It might be as well.
For which he earned numerous accolades, including a Golden Globe and 2 Emmy nominations. He's the author of the Land of Stories series, which has sold millions of copies worldwide and has spent over 100 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list. In 2024, he launched a new middle grade series, Roswell Johnson Saves the World, which became an instant bestseller. Colfer is also an award-winning audio narrator, and he's narrated every single one of his books himself, including his best-selling Stranger Than Fanfiction. I got that confused with slash fiction for a minute, and I had to double take and check that one out when I was doing the research for this. His other projects include Netflix's Ridley Jones and the upcoming animated musical feature, The Potters. Based in Los Angeles, Colfer's work spans television, film, literature, with a unique blend of humor, heart, and imagination. How was that? Was that a nice bio?
That was great. I never know what to do with my face or my body when
just
people
twitch.
Right. I should just twitch. That would that would just be a choice at least.
Nobody does it the same.
Right.
Everyone's like, some people like blush and demure. Some people are like, hell yeah, that's me. And then some people just like...
I kind of abandon self a little bit. I just kind of...
Dissociate. It's a nice time to dissociate.
Yeah.
But it is always nice when someone just like reads the thing, because you've been doing this for such a long time that it's a lot. It's cool to hear it all summarized.
About things. You forget about projects and things that you've done. So that was actually a very good...
well, you had to text your husband to have him remind you about what the last thing you were mad about was.
Right. Because I'm usually mad a lot. So I had to think of something clever, and he would have known. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Before we get into the really important stuff, I've prepared a rapid-fire series of questions for my audience to get to know you better in a section called Who the Hell Are You?
Oh, I can't wait.
Ready?
I'm always trying to figure out who the hell I am, so this is going to be great.
Name?
Chris.
Zodiac sign?
Gemini.
What are you an expert in?
Ooh, random European history and the paranormal.
Nice. How do you identify on the gender and sexuality spectrum today?
Typical gay guy, I'd say.
Typical gay guy.
Cisgendered gay guy.
Basic. Most favorite animal?
I'm really into capybaras right now.
Cheers. Least favorite animal?
Oh my God, I really don't have one. I love all of God's creatures. Maybe coyotes maybe right now. Just because I just adopted rescued a small puppy, and that's my biggest concern.
Okay. I thought you were going to say owls.
Oh, yes, I should say owls. I just told you that story.
We'll talk more about that though. The last thing you ate?
I had a chicken wrap.
How many caffeinated drinks do you drink in a day?
I'd say about 20.
Caffeinated drink of choice?
I was off the sauce for so long. I was off Diet Coke. That's like my biggest vice. Yeah. I was off of it for 4 or 5 years. And I recently shot a movie in Ireland, and they did not have any of my favorite sparkling waters there. So I fell off the wagon. And now I'm back on the wagon hardcore.
Yeah, once it's the what's that called? Extinction burst?
Yep. The chemical, the nice chemical release is nice.
What is your biggest pet peeve?
Okay, so it's a mix of like ignorance, ego, and just people that are just blatantly unself-aware. I think it all kind of mixes. I think it's like one vibe that people give.
Like loud talkers at restaurants kind of thing?
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, which I hope I'm giving none of those vibes today.
Time will tell.
Yeah, TikTok.
What is your dream vacation destination?
Oh, I have not been to Japan yet.
Oh, let's go. I'm going in a couple months.
I'm very jealous.
Favorite sport or game?
I love roller derby.
Favorite thing about queer bars?
The music.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a virtual hellscape and 10 being a utopia of rainbows and puppies, how are things looking for queer people in America right now?
As of today, in this moment, that while we're filming this, I'd say we're probably about a 4.5.
It is December 12th, 2024.
It
could go either way now.
It could go either way. So we will see.
What is the last thing that you misplaced?
My keys.
Where were they?
I think in the fridge.
Last thing you were super mad about?
Oh, you know what it was? It was Traffic.
What's the last thing that made you cry?
I randomly put on Everyone's Talking About Jamie, the musical, while I was putting up Christmas decorations, and there's a song that Richard E. Grant sings about being gay in the 80s and under like the rule of Margaret Thatcher, and it made me burst into tears.
So Margaret Thatcher is the last thing that made you cry.
I guess so. The Iron Lady.
Location of the worst date you've ever had?
Oh my God. Okay, the Montage in Laguna.
Enough said.
Which is actually a beautiful place, but it was a horrible date.
You know it's bad when it's something as beautiful of a venue as that.
Yep.
What is your most prized possession?
Ooh, my dogs. Are they possessions? Are they considered possessions?
According to the law, I think that was my answer as well, even though it doesn't feel right. But then I started thinking about like possessions and like,
Yeah.
My motorcycle?
Yeah,
I don't care. Like,
I can think of an object.
no, I like
Yeah,
dogs.
cool. Oh, my grandmother's piano also I have.
Wow.
That's the piano I learned how to sing at. So that's a very prized possession.
You survived. That was Who the Hell Are You?
Oh, is that it?
How did it
I
feel
thought that was going to be way more difficult.
Stuff Every Queer Kid Should Know is sponsored by ClearStem. ClearStem offers a comprehensive skincare wellness system focusing on clinically effective topical products in tandem with internal solutions. Unlike traditional surface-level treatments, ClearStem dives deeper to address the root causes of acne for lasting results. Two of my favorite products are the Cell Renew Serum and the Hydroglow Moisturizer. They are currently in my DOP kit when I travel. I use them every single day before I go to bed at night. I have noticed a visible difference in my skin. I am less dried out. I don't have any problems with acne, whereas, I used to get one or two here and there. And I've just noticed a better balance in my skin as general. Discover the ClearStem difference and experience clear, healthy skin for life. Go to clearstem.com/max and use code MAX at checkout for 15% off your first order. That is CLEARSTEM.com/max, code MAX.
If you're like me, you want to fuel your body with the best possible ingredients, whether you're working out, staying active, or just looking to maintain a healthy lifestyle. That's why I'm excited to share with you Peori's Whey Protein. Peori's Whey Protein is sourced from grass-fed cows, ensuring that you're getting a clean, pure, and high-quality protein. What sets this protein powder apart is its simplicity and commitment to quality. There are no artificial sweeteners, fillers, or unnecessary additives, just pure protein goodness with a delicious natural bourbon vanilla flavor. Plus, it's sweetened with organic coconut sugar, so it tastes amazing without all the junk. Peori Protein Powder delivers 21 grams of protein per serving, helping to support muscle recovery, energy levels, and overall wellness. It's great to know that Peori's Whey is certified by the Clean Label Project, ensuring it's free from harmful contaminants like heavy metals and pesticides. Head over to Peori.com and use my promo code MAXEmerson. That's PUORI.com/MaxEmerson and use promo code MaxEmerson today. So we're gonna start off where we always start, is being a young baby gay, wanting to do something creative, being in high school. What was your high school experience like? How did you get started as an actor? Because that was really your first and foremost, right?
Yeah, so I started acting when I was very young, just like in school plays and doing like, it was called oral interpretation in my elementary school, where you would tell a story and you'd be all the characters in it. And that's really when I got the bug.
It's like a one-man show.
It's like a little mini one-man show.
In Fresno.
In Clovis, where I grew up, which is actually kind of like a suburb of Fresno. But it was a very, very conservative environment. And being gay was the absolute worst thing you could be. So it was not an easy upbringing. I had a very loving and supportive family, but as soon as I left the house, it was absolute hell. And I went to a high school where kids were beat up for being gay, for showing any slight sign of femininity or anything. So I wouldn't use the restroom. I would wait until class was in session if I had to use the restroom, or try to sneak into the teacher's restroom. But I think that period all made me a better, well-rounded person.
I didn't have anything like that experience. It was more just like gay was a pejorative. There were a couple of gay kids, but they just they were kind of like a little off personality in the first place.
Yeah.
So they were like eating their lunch in the drama room, not because of any violent reason, but more just so that they could like sing musicals at the top of their lungs and just be really silly. Like it was more that they just had the space to be free rather than like hiding for safety in any capacity like that. But maybe there's something I didn't know.
You know, I ate lunch alone every day too.
A lot of bullying you don't really hear about.
You don't, you don't, unless you witness it or experience it. I ate lunch every day alone too. I had like this corner of the quad that I'd hide in, but it was just because I needed a break. It was never because I was like hiding or afraid. I just needed a break from teenagers.
Yeah.
And people would come over and like, "Are you okay?" Like, "I'm fine. I need a break."
Sorry, seat's taken.
I'm waiting for somebody.
Me and my demons are we're coalescing. So when did you start auditioning for television?
So I started in community theater as a small child. Fresno has an incredible community theater called the Good Company Players, and they perform at the theaters Roger Rockets Dinner Theater and Second Space Theater. So I was every little boy known to man in every musical and play from the age of like 10 to 14. And then a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend was an agent, and I got in touch with her through our connection. And so I started auditioning when I was about 14 for TVs and movies and stuff in Los Angeles.
How far is Fresno?
About 3.5 hours.
Oh, perfect.
So I would maybe have maybe 2 auditions a month. That would be a good month. But my parents, God bless them, they would drive me down back and forth just for those auditions. And
you didn't have a stage mom though, right?
Oh, I did. I absolutely did. Oh yeah.
Let's talk about
but
that.
Thank goodness I did, because I don't think
cute.
I would have worked out.
But you wanted it.
I did want it.
You weren't the forced.
No.
child.
It was definitely mutual. But I mean, like all my parents.
My mom would never have driven me to Miami for an audition.
You see, yeah, I know. Thank God.
She would like take my brothers to soccer tournaments on like the other side of the state, and Florida's a long state.
Right. That was one argument my mom always made when her friends would tell her that she was crazy for doing it. And she'd be like, "You take your kids to soccer."
And what are the chances he's going to make money doing that?
Right. Yeah, and their kids too. Yeah.
My dad was always really supportive, even though is currently 84 from South Carolina. But it was more because he thought it would make me a great litigator.
Oh.
Like when it came to like actually making the decision to try to be an actor or to try to work more as an actor, he was like, he hadn't supported me financially since I came out. He like circled back. He's like, "I'll help you with law school." Oh,
nice. I mean, you get some good communication skills from it. That's for sure.
How many auditions had you done before you got Glee?
Probably, I don't know, like 200.
Okay. So you'd been working a bit before then.
No, Glee was the first thing I ever got.
Wow. What was the audition process like?
Grueling. It was and terrifying. The first audition was at the offices of Robert Ulrich, who Ulrich or Ulrich? I always get it wrong. He's a friend. He's a good friend now.
I think it's Ulrich. I'm not sure.
Right. I know. So my 6th grade teacher was Mrs. Ulrich, so he's Ulrich. There we go. That's how I remember. So Robert Ulrich. It was at his office in Studio City. That was the first audition. Had to read some lines, and the character that I ended up getting hadn't even been written yet. So I was auditioning for another character, and then I sang a song, and then I went to callbacks the next day, and then a few days later, went in for the network testing and the studio testing, which is in front of all the bigwigs. So it was
all in 1 week.
I think maybe 2 weeks.
Wow.
2 weeks. And because I think I just started college in Fresno. And so I think like my first audition was like the day before I started college. And then the last audition was like the day after my second week. So it was all in a pretty short period of time.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Where did you, would you just come into LA and then go back out, or would you stay overnight at a friend's place?
I have an aunt that lives in Santa Barbara, so sometimes we'd go up there. Okay. If I rarely got a call back or was needed the next day, rarely. Mm-hmm. So that maybe happened once or twice. But in this incident, yes, we had to go to my aunt's house, and I had to go shopping for new clothes that night.
Nice.
So it was a fun story. It was a good experience.
That's so cool.
No, it was a terrifying experience. It had a good outcome.
We had a lot of really wealthy retired people in my hometown, Vero Beach. It's 3 hours north of Miami. And there were so many theater moms. And there was one in particular that was really bad. She had twins and then a younger boy. I'm not going to say their names, but the younger boy ended up being on like Nickelodeon shows and stuff. Yeah. Like he made it because he was beautiful and talented and all these things. But like they lived an hour and a half south, and they would come up just to do plays. every single day for rehearsals and other things. She would cart the whole family up. She medicated the hell out of them.
Oh,
and this poor woman, she was like working nights as a nurse and just giving it everything she had. And my brothers called them the circus family, because if I was hanging out with them, like the mom would be sleeping in one of our bedrooms while like I was hanging out with the boys around the house or at the beach or something like that. Like,
oh my God.
She was, it was one of the most weird family structures I'd ever seen. But that was obviously like, on the scale of 1 to 10, that was a 12. Like,
right.
And also Florida just, I don't know.
Modern gypsy.
Yeah, it was like Florida man meets stage mom. It was definitely it really was a modern day gypsy.
Yeah. It's also so strange, like how much of a, like young performing scene there was in Florida. Is Florida still a big place for like Nickelodeon and
No,
Disney?
they pulled all the film incentives pretty much by the time I started college, about 15 years ago. They'll still do stuff, but when it's like Dexter or whatever, they'll 90% of the time they're shooting in Marina Del Rey or Long Beach for Miami in like a harbor somewhere. But if they need them walking down South Beach or something, they'll come in and shoot exterior shots. And then you'll get like under five line auditions for stuff. But we got the breakdowns. I had an agent when I was in college because I was broke and trying anything I could to make money, modeling and stuff like that. And I actually I think I did like 3 auditions for Glee, but I was never going to Los Angeles for a callback. And I've never actually booked anything from a tape. Yeah.
Neither have I. Yeah, no.
I think that's probably something we should touch on. If anyone out there wants to be an actor, how frustrating sending in self-tapes is and will be.
Oh, yeah.
You've never booked from a tape either?
No, never.
Wow.
Always from the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
I prefer, I mean, I don't really audition much anymore unless it's something I really, really, really want, and they really, really don't want me.
It's either off or over. Or you're
right.
You're chasing.
If I hear they're like, we're not interested, then I'm like, okay, then I'm not gonna even waste my time with it. But I always prefer to be in the room because then if you get to work with the director, they can steer you and you can show more of what they're looking for.
And show that you can take notes and
right.
everything else.
And that you're not insane, which is always helpful.
I love all the weird instructions you get from casting directors sometimes. And it's like, oh man, what happened? Who hurt you? How much cologne were people wearing?
Yeah. This is not about this commercial.
They all have like very specific instructions. Like this one's like, don't shake hands. This one's no cologne. Like,
are you a good auditioner?
In person.
In person, yeah.
Yeah. But
I suck either way, so... So it's a miracle
but you're Chris Colfer, so it's fine. Let's go back to the Glee audition, because sometimes it really does just take that one perfect audition to get everything in motion. Did you have a gut feeling that Glee was going to be a huge hit from...
I did, because I remember when I got the first script, it was the first script I'd ever read that was about kids like me. So I knew there was an audience for it. I did not think it was going to put me on the cover of Time magazine. I didn't think we were going to be, performing for the Obamas. Nothing like that, but I did know there was an audience for it.
Stuff Every Queer Kid Should Know is brought to you by Max Emerson's Patreon. Do you ever feel like daily Instagram updates from your favorite influencers just aren't enough? Are you curious what the VIP section of social media is like? Well, buckle up, because Max Emerson's Patreon page is here to rescue you from the mundane. Get ready for exclusive access to Max's wild adventures, behind-the-scenes shenanigans, and a smorgasbord of engaging content that you won't find anywhere else. From sneak peeks to surprise gifts to mentions in the credits of videos and podcasts, Max's Patreon is the ultimate way to support independent queer storytelling. So what are you waiting for? Join today, and let's make the internet a little more colorful, one Patreon pledge at a time. Patreon.com/Maxisms.
Your role on Glee was a gay character. Were you out at that point? What's the journey here?
So I, using 18-year-old logic, I decided that I would come out on the Chelsea Handler show, because I thought, well, if I did it on
It's not bad.
it's not bad. No, I mean, it was for me, it was like, if I'd say it once there, I'll never have to say it again.
Oh yeah, that's how that works. You never have to come out after that
Never
first time.
have to come out again. And I was right, but my parents were a little thrown off by it.
Oh, come on. Your mom didn't know.
No, I mean, they knew. They would have appreciated a conversation before I told them.
Heads up would have been nice.
Heads up would have been
You
nice.
tell Chelsea before me.
Yeah. But I was like, I didn't want to have the conversation more than once. So, and why is this about you?
I mean, first and foremost, you just described yourself as a typical gay man. So, of course, you're going to come out in the splashiest,
yeah.
most press release worthy way possible. That's just how we roll. Like, it's
in our DNA.
That's the capital T typical gay man. Like, that's part of the thing. What was the fallout like? How did that go for you?
It was okay. It was a really tough week because I had been essentially outed prior to that by a magazine who, when they interviewed me, they never once asked me a single question about my orientation or anything in that. They just asked me questions about the show and my character and all that, and they just assumed, and so that's the headline they ran with. And it was kind of unfair for me because I just wanted to be on a boat before I called myself a sailor. You know what I mean? So I had no shame about it. I was young and still figuring things out. So that part was taken from me in a way, but I knew it was true deep down inside. So I just wanted to I just wanted to clarify it. But also there were so many, even like the very, very early years of Glee, there were so many young people looking up to me that I wanted to be there for them and be a symbol of something for
to
them.
Represent appropriately and not teach kids out there that being queer is something you need to hide in order to be successful.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that honestly, that was the best part about the show for me was getting to do that, getting to help those kids.
How many years in the closet were you on television?
Oh God. I mean, it was weeks probably. It was not. It was
like me at college.
I think it was like episode 3 or 4. I don't think it was very long.
And the character was gay from the beginning, or how did it coming out?
The character came out. I think episode 3 or 4.
Oh, so you timed it?
I didn't. No, I didn't time it, but the world timed it for me, I guess.
Okay. And this was before any conversations about straight actors playing gay roles or anything like that. So you're not going to get any of that crap.
Yeah, no, it was way, way before all that. I mean, this was back when people would tell you, do not come out, it's going to ruin your career.
In hindsight, it probably could have been funnier to make your coming out plan to do the biggest, most flaming denial possible.
Oh my God, that Liberace.
You guys stop doing it. Mac and Sonny and Philly was stop saying that about me.
Right. Well, that was my thing. I would rather be the unicorn in the room than the elephant.
Okay. That's a nice way to put it.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. I guess my instinct is always first to troll. And that's something I'm trying to exercise a bit, meaning get out, not make stronger.
Yeah. I was also so just desperate for people to just focus on the work that I was doing. So it was all it was really, anytime I'd ever talk about it or confirm it, it was always just to okay, can we move on? Can we move on? And no one ever moved on to this day. It's I'm still I
the
go,
gay kid from Glee.
Yeah. Or it's people just still think just being gay is the most fascinating thing in the world still. When I, especially straight people.
Yeah.
When I go on their talk shows and whatnot.
Really? Mm-hmm. I feel like I've come up with a really polite way of I don't want to say sidestepping or deflecting or even kind of chastising someone for being too curious. I always just kind of give the advice of you should maybe seek someone out who's willing to be an educator.
Oh, there you go.
Because that's not a job everyone signs up for.
No, it's a very nice way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Glee, how did that affect you and shape you as an actor? Because you've been doing community theater up until this point. Mm-hmm. How was that different from what you'd been doing? And I mean, obviously there's going to be, I'm assuming there's probably some imposter syndrome happening with all the other actors on this show and feeling like you need to catch up to some of the people's experience. Yeah. What was that curve like for you?
Yeah, I was the least experienced going into it. I had just done community theater and I was working with Broadway stars and you really
vets
like Jane Lynch, oh my God.
And it's not just TV vets, like you said, the Broadway stars, because they show up off book.
We're always more prepared than others. It was such an exciting time that I don't remember it being intimidating, but it also made me work so hard to keep up with everyone.
Was there ever a moment where you didn't think you were going to be able to do it?
Oh yeah. Still, of course. Yeah, absolutely. And I really relied heavily on the directors that we had. And I asked questions. Was that okay? Was it too much? Was this? I was really loved feedback. But I think I was really lucky because I was also working with people that I was such a big fan of too. That really made me do the work.
So being the gay kid on Glee, you've now got the job of educator, you've got the job of activist strapped on you. What are some of the challenges of that when you just want to be an actor? Like I mean, I'm sure there's been rewarding moments when fans reach out, and I'm sure you've gotten the "You've Saved My Life" story from a couple of people, and it makes it all worthwhile. But what are some of the moments where you're like, oh God, I don't want to do this right now? Like, are there like certain interview questions you get when you know you're just going to be in for it with this person?
It was more just annoying. Like, I feel like my co-stars would be like, so who's your celebrity crush? You know, and then they come to me and they're like, what do you think about gay rights in Mississippi right now? You know, I haven't heard what's going on in Mississippi.
Aren't you celebrityfeet.com? Why are you asking me this?
Right. I think the hardest part about it was I think as a community, we are in such a better place now. I feel like we are so supportive. Like when one person comes after us, or if someone comes after one of us, they come after all of us. Where
we also do a better job of keeping each other accountable.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes. Yeah. Where back then, there really wasn't as much community in our community, I'd say. So the hardest part was just feeling so alone through it all. Like I remember, like
back
people
when
would
queer spaces used to be seedier because it was where everybody who was deviant had to go.
Right. Or like, you know, people would like politicians or pastors of mega churches would say things about me, and people wouldn't come to my defense, and I would just have to stomach it and take it. That was the hardest part. By the way, I'm too ornery to be a victim, so I'm not trying to like play a violin and say I'm a victim. Like that's not. You know
what really grinds my gears? Death threats.
Yeah, but no, I think it's all, and also like I would have meetings with huge directors, and they would call me the F word in the room, and I would share these stories with people, and they'd be like, yeah, well, what do you expect? You're an out actor. That's what's going to happen.
They just called you the F word.
Yeah. They flat out say like, I'd love to have you in this movie, but I can't hire a things like that. Which now I feel like if that were to happen, like people would come with pitchforks.
A lot of times when I got that sort of feedback from people, it was the same agent who would say that they would sign me if we were dating.
Oh yeah.
So
I never went through that, Max.
What's that?
I never went through anything like that. But
you never had sexual harassment in the industry?
Oh no, I did, but no, I.
But I found that the biggest gatekeepers against the gay stuff were generally the gay executives, thinking that they just know the industry and that's the way it is. And well, it is because you just said it was.
Yeah.
But it was always like the managers and stuff. They'd be like, "Yeah, you can be gay. Just keep it to yourself and don't be an activist and date me." Like,
date me. Yeah, I know. You
didn't have any experience with that sort of stuff.
Not that I had like.
You were in like the Ryan Murphy familia, so they were afraid of you already.
No, I mean like I had things happen like backstage at concerts and stuff, but it was never like like a do this or I'll do that kind of. It was never like a quick quid pro quo.
Oh, it was never career oriented. It was just kind of general predatory category.
Yeah, and also like I was also a very powerful little twink.
I was gonna say you had a huge platform. I
I
haven't experienced anything like what I experienced now that I have a platform. And in my mid-30s, they don't want me.
Which is just so disgusting that people prey on.
It's primarily the young, but having the platform is the only way to protect yourself. I think in that capacity because it's gotten so sophisticated now. I have friends tell me about their experiences, and it's just like, well, the offer's on the table. That's just what it is.
Was lucky enough to like not be like overtly attractive back then. Like I literally looked like a little Angela Merkel running around. So
that is not true.
That paid off. That protected me.
Mini Merkel. They should have had you play Merkel on SNL.
They really should have. Yeah. I mean, I'm still available.
Have you ever gotten to do SNL?
I did. Yes.
What was that like?
Amazing.
Is that
amazing?
What would you say has been like your ultimate bucket list experience as an actor?
SNL was one of them.
Like I've peaked.
And I did host SNL just to clarify. I was a surprise cameo, and that was just a blast. Oh my God, I've had a lot. I've been very great. I've been very, very lucky. I've had a lot of them. I mean, I got to sing with Carol Burnett. That was incredible.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I
it's always the obscure, like weird theater kid things that are the most impactful. But to like a general audience, like who?
You know what I did get to do? I got to talk to Shirley MacLaine about aliens. Like we had a private conversation about aliens, and I think that was one of my like pinch me. I cannot believe this is actually happening.
Nice. How does that compare to winning awards or being nominated for some of the biggest awards?
It's right up there. Honestly, I think if I had to like, especially with Glee, if I had to like list like the best parts of that show, number one was helping and inspiring queer kids. That was the greatest thing to ever come out of it. Number two, what we're getting to work with so many amazing people, because we had so many incredible guest stars on that show. And
it really was just a revolving door of A-listers.
It really
for
was,
years.
Yeah. And I would say I loved every single one of them except for one, who I'll never say. I'll never say which one was.
What does it rhyme with?
Even that would give it away. It's way too obvious. But number three would be the accolades.
Okay.
So I put those two things way above the accolades.
Interesting. I was always curious as if those awards or anything would come with like this huge sense of, well, now what?
Yeah.
Do you just get hungry for the next thing, I guess?
You do, but there's also...
The goalpost just keeps moving.
One thing they don't tell you about is when you win big awards is sometimes there's a wave of resentment that comes with it too. And people who were in your corner for a long time are no longer in your corner.
Oh, you get a lot of cattiness from other people and other actors, and interesting.
Yeah. Sometimes just in right in your nuclear environment. Sometimes in the extended environment as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had not expected that.
Yeah.
So you're suddenly the tall poppy.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I still have the award on my shelf, so they could, but
just maybe in the back room.
Yeah.
You once said that being out in Hollywood meant that you were unable or you were able to be a part of the underworld of gay community that existed at the time.
Oh man, I'm still trying to be part of the underworld. I never get invited to those parties.
Well, I mean, you probably don't want to go in case there's like someone with a camera.
Yeah, that's the one downside. Yeah.
Has that ever made that difficult? When did you meet your husband? How long were you single while being an out actor? What was dating like as
we met? And we're not married.
I'm sorry.
But no, it's okay. I'm sure we will one day.
I just assume when gays have been together for more than a few years, I'm like, oh yeah, your husband.
Yeah. I mean, we're practically. I mean, like I'm sure. Yeah, it's just a matter of time at this point. Our friends and family want it to happen very fast, but they probably just wanted a big fancy open bar. But
they know it'll be good.
But what was the question?
What was it like tapping into the queer community once you were already famous before, and not just famous, but like gay famous, inspirational, aspirational, theater kid, nerd out, people are going to be weird with you famous. What is that like trying to date?
Oh, it was impossible. It was absolutely impossible. You think it's easier, but it's even worse. And I remember at the time, my relationship with Darren Chris's character on the show became so big. The fans loved it so much that they convinced themselves that we were in a real relationship. So whenever they would see me in a picture with another gay person or suspect that I was dating somebody, they would try to ruin their life. Because I guess like in their
I see that with Instagram couples too. If there's like a really hot guy, they'll be really mean to the girlfriend.
Yes, exactly. And so
with gays, it's a little different.
Yes, I remember when Will and I started dating, like his family would get like creepy packages of hair in the mail with notes.
What?
With note to say, we know the truth. Like, stop lying. Let these two men be together. It was nuts.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and like dating in LA is hard enough, but when you have 100,000 confused,
it's like a whole NRA hell bent on keep stopping you from getting laid.
You're right. Oh yeah, yeah, it was. Yeah. So it was tough, and also. Like when I first came out on the show, everyone was in the closet. Everyone was closeted for their careers. Even people behind the scenes were closeted. So there wasn't a very big pool to dip my toe in.
You weren't willing to date someone in the closet?
Oh, I know I did. Oh. I did. I mean, I didn't have a choice. I dated people who were still in the closet today.
You're currently dating them now? Are you in a secret throuple and you're not going to tell us?
No, I'm not. No. But no, like, I mean, I think it's really, and I'm still friends with them. Like, but I do think it's sad that they have fake relationships for their career. To me, like, no career is worth that, in my opinion.
Was there ever a moment where you thought, I'm going to have to just deal with this person being in the closet for 10 years?
I think
because there's always hope that they're going to come out, right?
Yeah, in the early stages, of every relationship, you think, oh, this is the one, But I think I was just so excited to be in any kind of relationship. I didn't really care about
any attention is good attention. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
It's such a different world because that's so fast. You get there just overnight, essentially, right?
Yeah, and the world has changed so much so quickly. Like we have A-list movie stars that are out of the closet. It's wonderful, which we didn't. We were not allowed to be.
And they're playing
movie stars back then.
heterosexuals.
Yeah, they're playing straight people. Who would have thought?
Although everybody does want to see them do the gay roles. I mean, maybe I'm just like Twitter brainwashed or whatever, but that's fascinating. I'm stuck on the mailing boxes of hair.
Yeah.
So I took a queer lit class in college once, and it introduced me to the concept of slash fiction. And that's when fans of a show, I think our entry point was Harry Potter slash fiction in particular. And it was fans of a show or a thing or a story would write their own stories, but erotic fiction between the characters. And they would go off.
Deep,
I mean, they like, I think a lot of erotic fiction is where people get to explore very taboo kinks. So you'd get like incest stories and statutory stories and all this weird stuff. Was there like a lot of that for Glee?
Oh yeah. I honestly,
would your friends send you like the spices? Like how?
Yes, they did. Yes, they would. They still do. They still do. I
should have Sora recreate it. Just use like that AI video.
Well, actually, I propose.
Now do it as a song.
I propose we should do it. We should do a reading for a charity event of one of these things.
Ooh, Ali Fournier Center would love that.
I think
They're
they
very
would.
sex positive.
Yeah, well, there you go. That would be hilarious, right? I was always shot down. But I have only read about maybe one of myself, and it was so mortifying. I couldn't finish it.
Can you spark notes it?
They said I had in it. They described my abs, which I really appreciated. Them writing a story where I had abs. That was
very
nice.
generous. Okay.
But no, I couldn't even. I'm probably blushing right now just even thinking about what it was.
Were the acts all legal? Assuming
no, because we're teenagers in the show.
Okay.
So it was. So there was that element to it too.
Okay.
Right.
But like, was it just normal stuff? Or was
No.
it like, so like like beyond just the underage part, like the things they were doing where it was illegal too. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it was out there. I really don't know what 12-year-old in Nebraska wrote it, but I still think about her and I wonder where she is today.
Wow. Thank you very much
She's
for clarifying.
probably in politics.
I really appreciate those illuminating. She's in politics?
Probably.
She's running the RNC. She's the youngest leader. No. Let's talk about your writing, which is not slash fiction.
No, well, I mean, it could technically. I mean, well, actually,
anything can be spun off into slash fiction, but
so
the stuff you're writing is not for adults.
Just like, what is the definition of slash fiction?
I believe it's erotic fiction based off of characters from an existing story.
Okay, then I'm not. My books are not slash at all.
Well, they're also explicit.
No, they're
like
not.
You're in like middle schools, right?
I mean, there's probably slash fiction about the characters in my books. I'm sure, but
you haven't looked it up.
I no.
Oh
no, that's just too
for
much
the best.
PTSD.
Yeah. Right. It's like something you've spent so much work on these projects. I would just want to keep them pure as well.
Yeah, right.
Let's start with the Land of Story series. It's a global phenomenon. What inspired that?
I started writing it when I was a kid, actually. I was very curious about fairy tale characters when I was a kid. And whenever my mom would read a fairy tale story to me at night before bed, I'd have all these questions for her. And she got so sick of me asking these questions. She said, Christopher, if you're so curious, why don't you just write your own stories? And so I tried. The Land of Story series is just all the adventures that I wanted to have as a kid with the fairy tale characters.
What sort of fairy tale elements were you drawing from? I was a Greek mythology kid.
I love mythology.
Where was your stuff being pulled from?
I think I was just curious about the motivations and the backstories of the characters.
But did you like base them on any particular archetypes?
That's a good question. I don't think so. I didn't know what archetypes were back then. So,
well, fairy tales are generally more like that German Hans Christian Andersen.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I definitely use like
Aesop fable-y.
Yeah. It's mostly the Brothers Grimm references and imagery that I draw from, which I have a little bit of Hans Christian Andersen and Charles Perrault in there too.
When did you know you were ready to publish?
In Glee, I was given all these offers to do an autobiography, and I said, I'm 19, I'm not doing an autobiography. That'd be the shortest book in the world. But I said I always wanted to do this.
I'm gay. The end.
Right.
Thanks.
Right.
It's amazing. So brave.
And then I went to Hollywood, and here I am. Thank you. That'll be $44.99. But then I always wanted. I told my lit agent that I'd always wanted to do this children's series, and he kind of looked at me funny, and so I wrote the first half of the book, and then I got a deal off of that.
So it was a deadline.
I was a deadline.
That's usually the answer with most writers is what helped you finish? No, it was done. October 1st came around.
Right. I'm writing a book right now. That's why I'm so scatterbrained. Because when you're writing, I feel like you're living two lives at once. I need the deadline to get things done.
Is that an ADHD trait or just in general for writers?
Absolutely.
Anyone?
Yes. Okay. I mean, I've never had a brain that didn't have ADHD, so I wouldn't know, but for me, it absolutely is.
I think we all have like a touch of it, like the tendency to like respond to the same things that motivate an ADHD person, like immediacy. You don't seem like a consequences person as much either.
No,
like it'll just be what it is. But it's like the urgency, the interest, those are the things that will like get your attention.
Yes, yeah.
You mentioned that the Land of Stories saved you twice. What does that mean?
It came to me during a rough time when my younger sister was first diagnosed with epilepsy, and she had a very, very rare form of epilepsy where she had 50 seizures an hour. So it was a really rough time for the family, and just being able to write and being able to create a world that I was in control in, just saved my life mentally, spiritually, emotionally. I have no idea. I probably would have gone down a very dark path as a young kid and growing into a teenager had I not had writing to save me and distract me.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And then kind of like what I said earlier about the rough time on Glee when because when Glee first came out, I started getting a lot of death threats, and so I had to I became very agoraphobic. And there was a period of my life where I was very scared just to leave the house, and that's when I found this story again. So it saved me twice.
I do feel like writing is one of the best outlets, at least for me, as far as just getting the thought out. It's now somewhere. It's been filed. It's in a place. I don't have to like ruminate and rehearse it anymore because it's
there.
Done. Yeah, it's somewhere else.
Yeah.
You've written 19 books?
20.
The recent premiere was 20?
20, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm sorry I was out of town for the premiere.
It's all right. That's right.
They're across a lot of genres. How do you know which one to pick next? And is there like a sort of routine or schedule that you keep to keep you producing at the level that you do?
I feel like it picks me. Does that make sense?
Sure.
As a fellow writer, like I feel like I'm in control of it. I feel like whatever just hits me, I ride that wave.
I will have several ideas and I'll spend a couple hours fleshing them out, but my ideas are generally not the most like pitchable in that like fit into a box Hollywood or whatever capacity. So I end up kind of speccing things out a little bit, and then I'll give it to people I trust to help me pick which direction to go, whether it's like a showrunner for Amazon or my college mentor or a friend who's just writing a lot and selling things. And I'll be like, hey, which of these would you do next? And they'll kind of give me the feedback.
And they might have a better like understanding of like the
or
weather.
an opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The way that it was described to me by my college mentor was basically, I mean, he was probably just tailoring it to me because I like to surf. But he's like, think of it as like the wave that's coming. That's the one that's here right now. That's the energy that's pushing you. Ride that one.
Yeah.
It's the one that's in front of you.
Yeah, if you're lucky enough to have time to dedicate to the wave that's coming at you, that's wonderful.
Do you have a schedule when you write?
No, I just have a cry for help.
No daily quotas?
No. It's
We'll just
it
lock
is
you in your room.
It is a miracle that I get anything done.
Okay. So are you a tortoise or a hare with the deadlines and the writing? Slow and steady?
I go through different periods. Sometimes I'm a tortoise, sometimes I'm a hare. If it's flowing and it's great, then I'm a hare. But I'm mostly a tortoise.
What's the last thing you got stuck on?
This current chapter that I'm on right now.
What about it?
It's only supposed to be a couple pages long, and I just can't crack it for some reason. There's this transition.
And you don't just put in like something in brackets to hold the place and then move on?
No, get this. So the first half of the chapter's written and the second half of the chapter's written, but there's like 2 or 3 sentences that I need to crumb up with to connect the two, and I'm just white knuckling it.
Interesting.
I hope by the time that this airs, I have written this sentence that is.
I'll put it in the show notes.
Right. check in on me.
Completely out of context.
Do a wellness check on me and make sure I'm okay.
Show me your knuckles. Interesting. There's so much to this. It really does feel like it's how I experience it as well. It's like sometimes I can have something ruminating for a year and a half, and then something clicks. I'm ready to write it. I'm interested in writing it, and I can get it out in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And then I'll spend another year rewriting it.
Yeah.
How do you do your rewrites?
I focus chapter by chapter. So I rewriting for me is always. I feel like if I have 20 chapters in a book, I do 20 rewrites because I don't move on from a chapter unless I feel like it's ready for the book.
Okay.
And I think that just works for me.
You just kind of continually polish?
Yeah.
How different does your final look from your first draft?
It's actually pretty similar.
Yeah?
I'd say. Yeah, I'm really, that's one thing I'm lucky at.
Do you cut or add?
Both. Both. Okay. I always stop when I'm just changing the words. I'm not making it better. But realizing you're at that point is sometimes hard to identify.
I'm having one right now where the entire assignment is to change the words because it takes place like 200 years ago in another country with all these other people from other countries that is like, okay, well, I need to like do a proper vocabulary and word research so I can just go back in and like change out the words for like those old timey.
Yeah.
It's also probably my way of procrastinating.
Fun, but really hard.
I think I've done procrastinating. That before. Mm-hmm. Really? What's been your most challenging writing project?
Oh gosh. Probably the first Roswell Johnson book, because it was my first science fiction book. And I was also writing it from the perspective of a little boy of color, which I've never been. And so really having to handle it with a lot of sensitivity and reaching out to people to make sure that it was authentic took a lot of work.
I was say, what did that process look like, writing from the perspective of another age and race?
Honestly, what I did was I just tried to bring all of my experiences of discrimination as a gay man, and then go from there. And then I luckily had some wonderful sensitivity readers come in, and I have a lot of my Black friends came in and read it, and don't use this word, use this word instead. But it was really, really educational. And like some of the conversations we had were hilarious. Like my friend Karen was like, he can't be a fan of Green Day. He's gonna lose his black card. He cannot like Green Day.
Not outwardly, at least.
Right. But then also like so infuriating because I learned words that a lot of racists use to not sound racist. Like, instead of someone of your, ethnicity, they say some of your background.
You speak so well for it, yeah.
Exactly. Which is, just made me want to punch a lot of people.
Oh, I'm from Florida, so I'm sure that I was full of these triggers and still probably am in some capacity. So please forgive if there are any of them out there. It's not intentional. But for me, you're from Fresno. You had to probably have this active purging of some of these things. You're like, that phrase is up.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of the experiences that the little boy went through, I obviously I didn't experience racism where I grew up. I experienced a lot of homophobia, but I saw so much racism. So that was unfortunately an easy thing to draw from.
So you had plenty of firsthand experience or secondhand experience.
With my friends in high school, and just it was.
When you are coming from the perspective of other as well, so at least what that kind of alienation feels like.
Absolutely, yeah.
You're often very open about having anxiety and being an introvert. And since the primary purpose of this show is to make our adolescent selves have an easier time of it, what are some things that you've learned in the last however many years that you wish you could tell your 16-year-old self or anyone out there right now that's currently struggling with social anxiety, generalized anxiety, maybe is trying not to isolate so much? Like, what are some things that have worked for you?
I would say, especially if I could go back in time and talk to my younger self, I would say, first I'd say, do something with that hair. And I'd also say, you can't see it now, but every ounce of heartache and pain and embarrassment and anxiety and loneliness is going to make you a much, much well-rounded person. And you are feeling these things because you're capable of feeling so many things that your peers maybe can't.
Is there anything you would have done differently, having known all of this from some of your choices as a late teenager?
Oh God! There are pants that I would not have worn.
The hair. You said the hair.
The hair. I would have done more things with my hair. I maybe wouldn't have made that joke or this joke, but mostly like I see those experiences now as the steps that they were, not the burdens that they were. No, I guess I wouldn't, because I'd be too afraid that I wouldn't have learned the lesson that I now value so much.
So maybe a little more gratitude for the lesson, for lack of a better word sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
We like to end every episode of this show on a low note with a fight. Chris has selected a topic from a list of controversial topics. He's selected the stance he's going to take and whether or not he would like to spend his 60 seconds ranting first. What have you picked?
The topic? I think I picked because it comes up a lot. If all gay roles should go to gay actors.
Should only gay actors get gay roles? Fight me.
Do I go first?
You get to pick.
I'll go second.
Ooh, what's your stance?
Yes.
So only gay actors should play gay roles?
Yes.
Listen, Chris. I think it's fine if straight actors want to play gay roles. In fact, I think only straight actors should play gay roles. First of all, I mean, it's straight guys, we're assuming in this context. They already do what they want anyways, just let them keep doing that. But I think we should add the caveat that straight guys cannot play straight roles. The whole point is that you should be acting. Like the straights win their awards by playing gay, so they should not be allowed to play straight roles. There just is not a benefit to them. And plus, there's so many more gay actors than straight actors out there. We represent pretty much the same ratio of the population as the straights. So I think it should only be gay actors playing straight roles as a means of just really just bridging the divide between the two tribes. I think it's going to find a lot more understanding when you have to get into the shoes of someone who has to do that stuff with. I think it will make all of us grow more as actors if people can only play roles of their opposite sexual orientation. Fight me.
Okay, so I get asked this question a lot, and I always say yes. I do think gay roles should go to gay actors. Number one, I'm incredibly biased because I am a gay actor. Shocking, I know. But also, I think as an industry, we've made a wonderful step by saying authenticity is key. You know, the best person to tell a Cuban story is a Cuban actor. The best person to tell a Native American story is a Native American actor. To not give that respect to gay people is just blatant discrimination. I firmly believe that although some of my favorite performances of all time have been straight actors playing gay roles. I mean, like, I think I just saw Queer, and Daniel Craig is incredible in it, absolutely incredible. But I, sorry, I got distracted by the flag. Sorry.
Sorry, it says you have 10 seconds.
I also think that a straight actor's artistry is not as important as a gay man's livelihood.
Well, you know what? Actually, for the first time in this show's history, I think you've convinced me. We're going to have to agree to agree.
Oh, right. Great.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Stuff Every Queer Kid Should Know. This is a Wellness Loud production produced by Drake Peterson, Cass Falding, Chantilly Twazan, and Jake Wachtel. If you like this show, don't forget to share it with your friends, subscribe on your preferred channel, and give us a 5-star rating. Also, I would like to give a massive thank you to all of my Patreon subscribers. If you're in the credits tier, you will see your name listed in the show notes.